Pastor Brian from Summit Church here. We have a new group meeting at Summit Church each week. The group is Alcoholics Anonymous. There's a couple reasons you all should know this, and there's something I want to say to the church about this new meeting. The AA meeting at Summit is the topic for this week's edition of Wednesday's Words with Pastor Brian. Last November, Brett Kent approached me and asked if Summit might host an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. An AA group in Southwest Boise recently lost their space, so there was a need in our part of the city. Brett is part of our church, and he saw this as a need we might be able to meet. I told him that the elders needed to talk this through, and I would take it to the full elder board. So we met with Brett to ensure we understood what this would entail, and we worked out the details. AA began meeting at Summit this month. They've now met twice and had about 20 people come. It wouldn't surprise me if this grows because there are folks looking for the nearest AA meeting, and there's now one fewer in this part of town. And there's folks who are required to attend AA because they got arrested for DUI and the court requires it. Having AA at Summit gives us an avenue into their lives. Now, like I said, there's a couple reasons why you all need to know this. And first, some of you may be interested in attending. A church our size has folks who are struggling with alcohol. That's just a fact. And you should know that you can now get help at your own church. But secondly, you may have friends or family or coworkers who would benefit. Reaching out is part of our vision. And this is the way you can reach out to folks in your sphere with real help that's connected to a gospel-centered church. But there's something I want to say to the congregation about this as well. Hosting AA has the potential to be a little messy. We will likely have folks in our building each week who are far from God and are struggling with addiction. The leadership of the church understands this fact, and we believe it's worth the mess because people matter. I am convinced that Jesus has the power to turn their lives around. And if we really want to reach people who are far from God, we have to be willing to wade into that mess. I want Summit to be a place where the hope of the gospel is held out to people regularly. And I'm glad that AA is now meeting in our building each week. Now, just so you know, AA meets on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Now, we intentionally chose Thursdays because there's no children's ministry, there's no youth ministry in the building that night. There's a couple adult groups, but they will have plenty of room. You can just show up, or you can talk with Brett Kent if you want more details. You know, AA is an opportunity for Summit to meet a need within our community. We currently do that with things like Divorce Care and Dave Ramsey. I'm glad we now have another opportunity to give hope and healing to people whose lives have been devastated by alcohol.